Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview to Everton's upcoming Premier League fixture against Watford tomorrow at Goodison Park. It is of course our first game of the season at Goodison Park, so a really exciting one for everybody getting down to the stadium tomorrow. Of course, one that we've been looking forward to for quite some weeks now. Obviously we're going to talk about the game in great depth today. I'm going to give my predicted starting 11. We're also going to talk about Marco Silva's pre-game press conference that he had earlier on today. Some really important information to talk about from that, including some updates on injuries, for example Fabian Delph and Andre Gomez, and we're also going to give my opinion on the new boys as well, Alex Iwobi, Moise Kean and of course Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and what place they could have in this game. Will they start the game? Will they come off the bench? Will we see them at all? Obviously Jabril Sidibe is included in that as well. I've started streaming a little bit earlier today, about 10 minutes earlier than usual. I'm using this whole new YouTube streaming setup, so I do apologise if it's a little bit different, if I paused for a little bit before the start of the stream. It's all new to me, so I'm trying to get used to it, of course. If you're in the live comments, big hello to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us live. If you're watching the YouTube video as well, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us. Get all your thoughts in the live comments about tomorrow's game. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know how you're feeling about it. Obviously, coming off the back of a goalless draw against Crystal Palace last week, we of course done the game review, we done the instant match reaction, we spoke about Morgan Schneiderlin sending off. We spoke about how, in my opinion, we could have won that game and it was realistically 2 points dropped. However, you're understanding, obviously, in the circumstances, the fact that obviously we played the last half an hour pretty much with 10 men, you understand why Marco Silva sat back and went for the draw in the end. However, it was quite disappointing because we had opportunities. We had opportunities earlier on in the game. Gylfi Sigurdsson having a fantastic opportunity from about 9 yards out, 9 to 12 yards out. Dominic Calvert-Lewin having opportunities as well, Seamus Coleman having an opportunity, and we just lacked that final product. And it was quite similar to the Palace game later in last season when we couldn't break the deadlock there either, and we were on a really good run of form. We were beating all the top six, and we go into Crystal Palace, we went to Selhurst Park, and we couldn't get the 3 points. We really struggled. Like we said, obviously they were missing Wilfried Zaha for large parts of the game, so who knows, maybe it'd have been a different game if he'd have played. But regardless, we're not here to talk about that one. That was a boring goalless draw, and we all know going into this one tomorrow, obviously it's Watford at home. It's the first game of the season at Goodison Park. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric. I cannot wait to hear the sirens again. And for me, it's a needed 3 points for me. It really is. We spoke about the run of fixtures before the season started and how important it is for us to get as many points as possible in these next sort of couple of weeks, obviously before we go into playing the top six sides, because we play, I think, everyone out the top six, barring one, within the space of like 4 or 5, 6 weeks. So we play them consecutively week after week. So we need to make sure that these games against the sides like Watford, against the sides like Palace, we're picking up 3 points against. Obviously, we didn't pick up 3 points last week, and that was due to circumstances and whatever. We'll put that one in the past, but for me, there's no excuses to not get the 3 points tomorrow. Watford are a team that proved last week they can be beaten, and beaten quite heavily. Obviously, they were absolutely battered by Brighton. We'll go into talking about that in a sec. But of course, Watford are a team that last season were around our position for very much large majority of the season, large part of the season. So these are a team that some people would say are competing with us for the the top 7, top 8 places, whatever, what have you. So these are the type of team, these Wolves, Leicester, teams that are going to be around us come the end of the season. So we need to be making sure that we're getting the 3 points. Obviously, we struggled against Watford at home last season. It was just after the Derby defeat at Anfield, so heads were a little bit down, of course. I think we scored a last minute equaliser. I think Luca Dean scored a free kick at Goodison Park, so we can't be having another game like that. We need to go out and we need to show, obviously, how good we are, and the fact that last week was just a little bit of a starter, and the lads were a little bit tired and maybe a little bit sort of not quite ready yet. We need to be ready today. Obviously, there's another week's training. All the new boys have had a chance to settle down now. Granted, they probably haven't settled down completely and won't be fully used to the squad in the league yet, for the likes of Moise Kean and Jean-Philippe Gbamin, but They've had another week in training, they've had another week getting used to the teammates, and they've had another week with Marco Silva as well. So yeah, like I said, in regards to Watford, of course, they were absolutely battered by Brighton last week, 3-0 at home, and it wasn't a game that, you watched and you thought it went, okay, this has been quite even here, and Brighton have scored, 3 decent goals, but it's been quite an even game. They were absolutely bladdered. Obviously, their main man, Decore, getting an own goal, somebody that we were obviously quite heavily linked with in the summer. Marco Silva labelled him as a player that he desperately wanted. Watford stood their stance on him and said, listen, we're not selling him no matter how much you bid. We had 2 bids rejected. They said, well, he's not going anywhere, he's our player, and he's not leaving the football club. And we sort of give up after a little while. I think it was after 2 bids rejected and a 3rd bid sort of turned away unofficially. I think we walked away from that one. Marco Silva's obviously come out and said that he's still going to pursue the Decore transfer. He's a player that he wants to bring to the club desperately, and if he didn't get him this summer, he was going to try and pursue him in January and then next summer as well. So that's obviously really interesting to hear. Scored an own goal last week, which isn't the best for his career, isn't great for Watford either, but again, it is what it is, and it happens in football. It's not a reflection of the type of player he is. But regardless of the own goal, they were absolutely bladdered last week by a Brighton side that, for me, and for a lot of people as well, were touted as, one of the favourites to go down this season. They were not great last season, barely stayed up. Obviously, they've made some, decent signings, and it was proved in the opening game of the season when them signings actually come into fruition, and a couple of them got a couple of goals. But they're still a team that will be fighting relegation come the end of the season, and obviously a team that went away to Watford and picked up a massive 3 points. So we know Watford can be beaten. We know Watford aren't in a great run of form at the minute, despite the fact that it's only it's only the second game of the season. They didn't have a fantastic pre-season, and then of course they were beaten heavily last week. So this is an opportunity for us to capitalise on that. The Reds will be down. They'll be wanting to obviously bounce back. They'll be wanting to get a win. We know how they like to create this weird made-up rivalry with Everton because of Marco Silva and Richarlison and this, that and the other. So obviously their fans will be coming with their plastic snakes and their drums and all that shite. So we need to make sure that we make it a hostile environment for Watford tomorrow afternoon. We made it a hostile environment for Liverpool when they come to Goodison last season. We made it a hostile environment for United, for Chelsea, for Arsenal as well. So we need to make it a hostile environment for Watford tomorrow afternoon. And I think if we do that, there's no excuse for us to not get the 3 points. Alex says, yes, Cam, yes, Alex, hope you are doing well. Shabba says, good to see you again, Cam. Good to see you too, Shabba. Hope you're doing well. Kanusukun Kennedy says, Davis, chance, he needs to start to deliver. I agree, and we'll talk about the predicted starting 11 in a minute. This is a big chance for Tom Davis, in my opinion, obviously with the injuries. And Ian says, is it just me that can't see you? I'm not too sure. If you're watching the stream live, there's 14 people currently watching. Please do put in the comment section down below. Is everything fine? Can you see me? Obviously, like I said, I'm using this new YouTube setup, so I can't usually see what I could see. I can see the little preview in the corner, and I seem to be fine. So please do let me know if you're watching live, if you can see me. If not, if it is just you, Ian, I'd probably just refresh or maybe shut the YouTube app down and come back on. I'll still be here, no doubt. I'm not too sure what's going on there. If you are watching live, by the way, please do hit that like button. It would mean a massive amount to me. Let's see if we can get to 10 likes before the end of the stream. That would be absolutely fantastic. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. So yeah, talking about Watford, like I said, had quite a heavy defeat last week. Won't be wanting to have 2 defeats on the run. It's already talk of there being a little bit of pressure on Watford, a little bit of pressure on the manager due to that defeat last week, which is absolutely silly when you think about it, but that's social media for you. They have, of course, made an addition in the transfer window. They brought in Sarr, who was a decent attacking player, of course. Brought him in to improve their squad. Obviously kept hold of Decore as well, which is massive for them. I don't think we've seen Sarr last week, obviously. Still, getting used to, again, his teammates, still getting used to the league, which of course has been the case with many of the new signings this summer, not just, those that have joined Everton, but those that have joined other sides as well. So fully expect him to be involved tomorrow at some point, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, that's to be seen, but fully expect him to come into the team, and obviously he'll have something to prove as well. It'll be his first game in a Watford shirt, and he'll want to really impress. Like I said, the Decore one for me is absolutely massive. Keep it in for me. It's a little bit like the Crystal Palace situation with Wilfried Zaha. We spoke about it last week actually, and it's quite ironic the way Everton's first 2 games of the season, the teams that we're playing, we tried to sign the best player from those teams in this transfer window, of course. The Zaha situation, which we spoke about last week, and how important he is to them, and how, in my opinion, he's the difference between them being a Championship club and a Premier League club. Quite similarly to Watford, really. I don't think if Watford lost to Corey, they'd go down. However, he is vital to how they play. He's vital to their team, of course. He's the brick in the midfield. He's absolutely fantastic footballer. Yes, he scored an own goal last week, but we'll forget about that one because that happens in football. He's an absolutely brilliant central midfielder. He offers going forward and he offers defensively as well. And you could really, really see why Marco Silva wanted to bring him to Everton Football Club. Marco Silva was said to be obsessed with bringing him to Everton Football Club, and you can understand why as well. Watford obviously stood firm. Some people were saying that was because they don't want to sell to Everton or because of this weird rivalry. I don't think it was. They proved with Richarlison last year that they'd sell if the price was right. I just think they understand how important Doucouré is to their team and their club, and that's why they stood firm on him. So yeah, like I said, fully expect those two to be involved tomorrow. And you know what? Listen, even with Doucouré, even with Sarr, personally think this Everton team that, the Everton team I've predicted, that's not to say whether it'll be the Everton team that starts, but the Everton team that I've predicted and any Everton team that Marco Silva decides to go with is more than good enough to beat Watford. We've seen them get turned over quite heavily last week against Brighton. And, we need a massive, massive win for me. It's so early on in the season. It's, the first game at Goodison Park, the second game of the season. It'd be stupid of me to say we desperately need a win. It's a massive, massive 3 points. But in reality, it is. Because these are the games that you'll look back on at the end of the season and you'll go, if only we'd have picked up 3 points there, if only we'd have picked up 3 points there, if only we wouldn't have dropped points there, we could have been in the top 4, we could have been in the top 6, we could have been challenging. These are the type of games that you'll look back on. And obviously, we've already had one of them this season already with Crystal Palace, where we might look back on that in a few months' time and go, if only Gylfi Sigurdsson, had took his chance there, that's another 3 points that could have taken us closer to Arsenal, closer to Chelsea, etc. Again, this is another one of those games that we really, really do need to be picking up 3 points. And it's the first game at Goodison Park. The atmosphere will absolutely be electric. It gives us the opportunity to see some of the new lads, whether they start or not is a different question. We'll talk about my predicted starting 11 in a second. But for me, it's a massive, massive 3 points on the line here. Watford was shaky last week, and we should capitalise on that at 100%. It's a really, really good chance for us to go in, get the first 3 points of our season, come away from the first 2 games with 4 points, which at the end of the day isn't too bad considering one of them was an away game. My dad always said to me as a kid, if you win all your home games and draw all your away games, you win the league, and that is true. I'm not going to say we're going to win the league, but it's pretty much a perfect start. It's a really, really good start if we get the 3 points tomorrow. Obviously, it's not perfect because we could have beat Palace, but it's a decent start, and for me, that's what we need because, we've got a few weeks of fixtures that against teams that we can realistically beat and should be realistically beaten, and then we've got a few weeks of fixtures against sides that, yes, we turned over last season, yes, we proved we can beat last season, but are not going to be easy. We've already seen the levels of Manchester United this season. They bladdered Chelsea 4-0 last week. We've already seen the levels of Manchester City, who look to be on a different planet. The levels of Tottenham, who come back from being 1-0 down and turned Villa over within the space of 15 minutes. Even Chelsea, to an extent, who got battered last week, but we've seen them in midweek on Wednesday night against Liverpool, and they looked decent. They really, really did look decent, and they should have won that game. A couple of, silly offsides, which were offsides, but they were putting the ball in the back of the net. So we need to be keeping up with these teams, and in order to keep up with these teams, we need to be getting 3 points in games like this one on tomorrow afternoon. And I'm confident. I really am confident that we'll come away with the win tomorrow. I'm just going to tweet today's team out so everybody knows we are live. 14 people currently watching. Thank you very, very much for your support. If you're not enjoying this team, please do hit that like button. It would mean an absolute massive amount to me if you could. Let me know your thoughts on tomorrow's game in the comment section down below as well. If you agree with my predicted starting 11, let me know. If you disagree, what would your predicted starting 11 be? Who would you bring in? Obviously, we're going to talk about my decision to keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin in there because I do think a lot of people would have opted to put in Moise Kean, and that's fair enough. But I'm going to talk about why I don't think Marco Silva will play Moise Kean from the start tomorrow. Whether he should or not is a different question, but we're going to talk about why I think he won't. Where are we? Eyes Wide says, works fine, mate. Thank you very much. Shabba says, yeah, everything's fine this end. Thank you very much, Shabba. And Ian says, yeah, vision on. Brilliant. Got it sorted. Fantastic. And Ian says, exactly. Got to play well when it counts rather than when there's nothing to play for. Exactly. And these are the type of, realistically, it's stupid because we're 2 games in and people will probably say, oh, Cam, don't be, just enjoy the ride or don't be worried now. But these are the type of games that you will look back on in the future, and if we don't get the 3 points tomorrow, you'll go, well, you know what, we could have won that game and we should have won that game. Look at the, look at the side we had, look at the chances we created. I don't want to be sitting here again like last week going, we created the opportunities, we just didn't put them away. We should have won that game. If we get absolutely bladdered off the park, I don't think we'll get bladdered off the park tomorrow, but if we play, like, I don't know, let's say City or Spurs in a few weeks, and we get bladdered off the park, then you can't look back at that at the end of the season and go, oh, imagine if we'd have won that game. We could have won that game, because you think, well, no, we didn't, because we got bladdered off the park on the day. Let's be honest, like, last season, looking back on last season, I don't look at the Spurs game at Goodison Park and go, oh, if only would have done a little bit more there. The only thing I look at the Spurs game is I think, the goals that we conceded were really, really silly and we could have avoided, but at the end of the day, we got bladdered. But again, games like Newcastle at home last season, Watford at home last season, Palace away, you do look at and go, if only we'd have picked up points there. And what we don't want is that, tomorrow's game to be like that. We've got more than enough to beat Watford, going on their result last week, we should be beating them, let's be honest. It's the first game of the season at Goodison, everyone's going to be up for it, everyone's going to be raring to go, and for me, there's no excuse to not get the 3 points tomorrow. Obviously, Marco Silva's had this pre-game press conference today, really, really interesting one. The first question he was asked was about injuries. I suppose the most surprising bit of news today, going into this preview, going into tomorrow's game, is that Marco Silva has confirmed that Fabian Delph is still out. He will not feature tomorrow. Now, this is a little bit strange considering Delph was pictured in Saining earlier on in the week, and obviously he was looking well. He was competing. He was with the rest of the team. So it led a lot of us to believe that he may be fit for Saturday's game. Obviously, it would have been fantastic if he was fit for Saturday's game because we're massively lacking in midfield options. But Marco Silva has come out and said that Fabian Delph is in fact out. He's injured. He's still not fit to compete. Make of that what you will. He also said that Andre Gomez is a doubt for tomorrow's game. We don't know whether he'll be fit or not yet. This worries me a little bit because I think he'd probably know if he was going to be available at least to start tomorrow by now. Of course, he'll have had late fitness tests. Of course, he'll have trained again in the afternoon today after the press conference. So, Marco might have been able to make that decision then. But at the minute, he remains a doubt. Leighton Baines was also confirmed injured as well. Now, we know Luca Dean's more than likely to start, but it's worth looking at that one because it means that we don't really have any cover for left-back. And he also spoke about Alex Iwobi. He said that Alex Iwobi has been working hard and he is ready if I decide to make that decision. Now, we'll move straight on to the predicted starting 11 because I want to talk about Alex Iwobi and Moise Kean in a little bit more depth. So, as you can see, it's on my right hand side there. Left hand side. Sorry, I'm thinking of the way I'm putting. Yeah, it's on my left hand side. Basically, I've had a shocker there. My predicted starting 11, of course. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Let me know your predicted starting 11s as well. So I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Pretty self-explanatory. I think they've taken an absolute unbelievable week's worth of training for Jonas Lössl to move Jordan Pickford. But Jordan Pickford in goal, as per usual. I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back, Luca Dean at left back, and Michael Keane and Yerry Mina in the centre of defence. I thought Keane and Mina were absolutely fantastic last week against Crystal Palace. Granted, they didn't have an awful lot to do, but what they had to do, they done it well. Jordan Pickford, of course, making some really, really good saves in that game. In regards to the full-backs, Luca Dean wasn't at his best going forward last week, but done what he needs to do defensively. Didn't make any mistakes, and the same with Seamus Coleman. I actually got a comment on the instant match reaction, having a little bit of a go because I said Seamus Coleman had a poor game. For me, I think he did have a poor game going forward. I think he was a little bit shyish. He was sheepish. He didn't want to, burst past that sort of halfway line. But defensively, I had no issue with him. I thought he played quite well defensively. I thought, the whole defence last week was pretty solid. Crystal Palace got through a couple of times, but, Jordan Pickford was there to make two really, really good saves. But other than that, I thought the defence was fantastic. So moving on into the midfield, this is where it gets a little bit saucy. Obviously, we know we are heavily lacking in midfield options. So I've gone for Jean-Philippe Gbamin, Tom Davies and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Obviously, Gylfi playing in the number 10 now. What we know, obviously, like we spoke about a second ago, Fabian Delph is out injured. Andre Gomez remains a doubt. So, he may well be in that starting 11 if he is declared fit. However, at the minute, I'm going to assume that he's not fit because, of course, it's been, nearly a week since the injury and they still aren't sure whether he'll be fit or not. And I don't think Marco Silva will rush him back in if he's not. And then, of course, Morgan Schneiderlin picking up that red card against Palace, so he is suspended and he can't feature either. And this is where, for me, we're a little bit sort of weak in the team going into tomorrow's game. Obviously, you've got Jean-Philippe Gbamin who come on against Crystal Palace last week. I actually thought he'd done a decent job. I didn't think he deserved some of the criticism that he got. However, what you could see is that he was very clearly nervous. He's new to the team. He's new to the league. He's not quite settled in yet. He said himself last week during midweek that he wasn't ready to start against Palace. Obviously, I don't think he was ready to come on as soon as he did, of course, obviously coming on through the injury of Andre Gomes just before the whistle for the end of the first half. Like he said, I thought he played okay. I thought he done well. He did struggle in parts. Like he said, he lost the ball a couple of times. I thought he done well to regain the ball, and I thought he done well. I spoke about this in the game review of the Palace game. I thought he actually won a couple of fouls quite well, and you could see that what he lacked in sharpness, what he lacked in fitness, what he, whereas he was a little bit nervous probably, he made up for it in his football and brain, and you could see that when he was losing the ball, he was putting his body in the way, he was putting his foot in the way, and he was making sure that the Palace players were going into him, that they were pushing him, that they were kicking him, and then he was throwing himself on the floor and winning some really, really clever fouls. So I actually thought he had an okay game against Palace. Obviously, he's had another week in training now. He's had another week at the football club. He had another week down the line to get used to the players, to get used to Marco Silva's style of play. So I dare say he will be fitter. I dare say he will be sharper. Whether he's ready or not to start a Premier League game, I don't know, but we haven't got much choice at the minute because everybody else is either out injured or suspended. So I do think Jean-Philippe Gbamin will make his Premier League starting debut, his debut at Goodison Park tomorrow. For me, I think Tom Davies partners him, like we said, with obviously Morgan Schneiderlin being out suspended, Fabian Delph confirmed injured. The only other midfielder that possibly could come in is Andre Gomes if he's declared fit. Now, like I said, just my personal opinion, I think that if Andre Gomes was fit, Marco Silva would know by now. Now, that's not to say that he might pass a late fitness test. That's not to say that Marco Silva might have looked at him in training this afternoon and gone, you know what, you're ready, you are fit. I just don't want him to rush him in if he's not fit. I don't want him to feel like he's the only option that we've got. And that way, because the worst thing that could happen tomorrow is that Andre Gomes is on the team sheet. You're looking at it 2 p.m. Gomes is there, you're thinking, boss, we've got Gomes in the midfield, we've got Gbamin in the midfield, a strong midfield, and then 10-15 minutes in, Gomes sort of pulls up and you're only adding on top of the injury that he's already got then, and then he begins to struggle, and then, he could be out for an even longer time. Of course, he got the injury last week, he hasn't had a lot of time to recover, he's still a doubt, as Marco Silva has said. So, for me, I do think he'll leave him out, and I think we will see Tom Davies get a start tomorrow. Now, I've got absolutely no issue with this. I actually thought Tom Davies done pretty well when he come on last week against Crystal Palace. I thought he'd done exactly what he needed to do. Obviously, he come on after Morgan Schneiderlin had been sent off, so he knew his role was to just slow the game up, keep hold of the ball and make sure that you take any pace out of the game, and that's what Tom Davies is good at. He's good at doing that. He's good at coming on in the last sort of 15 to 20 minutes when you're winning a game or when you're down to 10 men and just slowing the game down, bringing it down to his level, keeping the ball and, driving forward. And I actually think Tom done really, really well last week when he come on. Now, obviously, he's got a lot to prove. There's a lot more competition in the team now, so if he does end up in the starting 11 tomorrow, again, he's going to need to put in an absolute quality performance because he's going to be aware that Jean-Philippe Gbamin will only get better as he gets fitter and as sharpness comes. He's going to be well aware that Andre Gomes will only, obviously come back to fitness in the next couple of weeks. Fabian Delph will return to fitness in the next couple of weeks, and he obviously will be ahead of him in the pecking order. Even Morgan Schneiderlin, when he comes back from his suspension, will probably be ahead of him in the pecking order. So Tom needs a massive, massive game if he starts tomorrow, and I'm not going to lie, I'm confident going into tomorrow. I think we'll get the win. But if I look at my predicted starting 11, if that's the starting 11 that Marco Silva goes with, and I look at it tomorrow, I am a little bit worried about that midfield. Just because obviously you've got Tom Davies, who doesn't start a lot of football matches. Like I said, decent when he come on last week, but in a couple of games last season where he hasn't started, he hasn't been fantastic, and he's partnered next to obviously a player that's only just coming into the Premier League, trying to get used to the club, trying to get used to the league. So I just hope that if those two are playing in midfield, they're fully ready and they're aware of the jobs and what they have to do, and I just hope that they don't sort of just run around basically and get confused, and because that's somewhere that Watford will target and think, right, you've got a lad there who's only just joined them, who isn't going to be fully fit. You've got a lad there who obviously is a young player who's trying to break through, obviously hasn't got the qualities of Andre Gomes or Fabian Delph, etc. So if that is the midfield, I hope both players are ready, and I hope obviously they've got their head in the game, because as for both players as well, for Jean-Philippe Gbamin, he's got something to prove as well. He's got a little bit more of an excuse because obviously he's only just joined and he hasn't had very, very long to settle down, but he's got a lot to prove as well, because if he doesn't start putting in decent performances, you'll have Fabian Delph who'll, become a choice over him. You'll have Snadlin who'll come back and become a choice over him, obviously Gomez as well. So that's the two I've gone for in central defensive midfield, purely because we've not really got anyone else, and I don't think Marco Silva will risk Andre Gomez if he's not fit. If you're enjoying today's team, by the way, please do hit the like button. It would really mean a massive amount to me. Now I've gone for Gylfi Sigurdsson in the number 10 role. Now I criticised Gylfi Sigurdsson last week, criticised him in the instant match reaction, criticised him in the game review. I thought he had a shocking game. I thought he had an absolute shocking game. I think he was anonymous for large parts of it. The opportunities he did have, he wasted. I think he was poor on the ball. And I did say in the game review that it could just be a poor game. Players are entitled to having poor games. Now, it's not ideal that it's come on the opening game of the season. It's come at a time that, we could have done with that 3 points. However, players have poor games, and that is what it is. And Gylfi Sigurdsson will have 15 to 20 games this season where he'll be absolutely fantastic. He'll be assisting, he'll be scoring, he'll be creating opportunities, but he will also have 10 games where he's absent like he was last week. I think Marco Silva will go with Gylfi tomorrow. Obviously, the speak of Bernard playing in the number 10 role. There's talk of Alex Iwobi being able to play there as well. We know Alex Iwobi can play there. I think even if Marco Silva deems Iwobi fit, I still think Gylfi Sigurdsson will remain in there. We know what Gylfi can offer. I think he's a really, really solid footballer, 80% of the time, 85% of the time. Maybe that's being a little bit harsh, 90% of the time. And I think, obviously, we know what he can offer with his creativity, with his ability to ping a ball, his ability to put a chance away as well. Yes, he was poor last week. Yes, he should have converted his opportunities, but he's not going to be like that week in, week out. And, more often than not, you're going to get a performance by Gylfi Sigurdsson where he's pulling the strings and where he is putting those type of chances away. So for me, starts, like I said, Alex Iwobi would be in contention as well. Marco Silva said he's been working hard and it's up to him whether he makes that decision. I just don't think Alex Iwobi will start tomorrow's game. Not only is he a new player, not only has he had just over a week, obviously, with his teammates, just over a week to settle into Everton Football Club, but he hasn't had much of a pre-season either. He was away with international duties for the majority of it, so he hasn't played much of a pre-season either. So for me, I think if Alex Iwobi is to be involved at any point tomorrow, I think it'll be off the bench, and I think Marco Silva will stick with Gylfi Sigurdsson. Now I've gone for the front three of Bernard, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, exactly the same as last week's. Again, I think the Richarlison one pretty much picks himself, of course, against his old club. Hopefully he can get a couple of goals to rub it in the face. Their fans will all be booing him and pulling out the plastic snakes and all that shite. But Richarlison will no doubt start. Bernard on the other side, I think, wasn't fantastic again against Crystal Palace. Sad, too much trickery for me. He was trying to do, too much of the hard work and not just getting the basics nailed down. And I think if he'd have got the basics nailed down, then he'd have had a fairly decent game. And I've gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now, again, this is another similar situation to the Sigurdsson and Iwobi situation. Obviously, Moise Kean, was involved for around 20 minutes last week. He come off the bench. He done okay. I think his movement was really, really good. I think, like I said, his off the ball, his football and brain, you could see that he knew where he needed to be. However, he didn't have many touches of the ball. He didn't really get anything fed into him. I don't think he had a touch in the opposition box when he was on the pitch, and that's not his fault. That's a creative issue. That's because Gylfi didn't have a fantastic game. That's because Richarlison wasn't brilliant and Bernard wasn't brilliant either. But I think Marco Silva will stick with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is notoriously better at Goodison Park than he is away from home. And Marco Silva's come out in the last week and said he needs to avoid the temptation of just throwing Moise Kean in straight away. And I agree with that. Listen, I'd love to see Moise Kean start tomorrow. I'd love to see Moise Kean in the starting 11, but I agree with Marco Silva. I do think they need to avoid the temptation of just throwing him straight in, throwing him in the deep end and going, yeah, lad, go and get us a couple of goals there. Obviously, I think we'll see Moise Kean come off the bench another couple of times. I think we'll see it come off the bench tomorrow. And I think we'll see him come off the bench the week after as well, until he's fully fit and he's starting to find his feet in this league and in this team, and then he can start to play football matches week in, week out from the off. But I do think he'll feature off the bench again tomorrow, and I think Marco Silva will go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let me know your thoughts on my predicted starting 11 in the comment section down below. If you disagree, Give me your predicted starting 11s. What do you disagree with? Are you going to put Andre Gomez in there, even if he is still a doubt? Are you going to put Moise Kean in there because you weren't happy with Dominic Calvert-Lewin's performance last week? Don't get me wrong, I thought Dom was poor. However, I just think that, you know, we do need to resist the urge of just throwing Moise Kean in there straight away. And I think it'd be really, really exciting to see him come off the bench on the 60-minute mark tomorrow and see how we can change the game from there. So like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Where are we? Ian says Spurs did blather us, but our second goal should have stood to make it 2-0. Yeah, it should have, and maybe it'd have been a different game there, but like I said, that was just an example of a game that you don't really look back on and go, well, you know, maybe we could have won that game if only we would have won that game, because you just chalk that off and go, well, you know what, we were beaten quite fair and square. Toffee Talk says, if you've got time, can you have a look at my channel and let me know what you think? Thanks. Yes, I'll go over and have a look at it tonight after I've finished streaming. I've got something to talk about at the end of the stream that's not really Everton related, but I'll definitely go and have a look at that once I've done my little bits and bobs tonight. If you, after today's stream as well, everybody that's watching, go over and have a look at Toffee Talk's channel and go and drop them a subscribe. That guy says, am I the only one who's not worried about Davis starting? Thought he looked alright when he come on last week. Absolutely. Obviously would prefer to start Gomez if he's fit. I'm not necessarily worried about Davis starting. I'm just worried about that midfield combination, because I don't think Tom Davis is ready yet to carry a midfield on his own, and I'm worried that he might have to do a little bit of that if Gbamin's in there, just because, like I said, Gbamin's new to the team, Gbamin's new to the league, and he's still trying to find his feet. But I agree, I thought he was absolutely fantastic when he come on last week. Jonathan says, hi Cam, hi Jonathan, hope you are doing well. That guy also says, to be honest, if Iwobi is fit, what I won't mind doing is pushing Gylfi back to CM and playing Bernard in the middle with Iwobi on the left, or the other way around. Yeah, again, definitely a possibility, something Marco Silva may look for, and if that does happen, I think it's exciting either way. If Iwobi's playing in the 10, I think it's really, really exciting, because it gives us the opportunity to see what he's got in that position. And if Bernard's playing in the 10, again, it's something that we cried out for multiple times last season, so that'll be really, really exciting as well. And Scott says, who do you think will be on the bench? Personally, I think Moise Kean will be on the bench. I do think Iwobi will be on the bench, although there's a possibility he could start. I think Jibril Sidibe will be on the bench. And then I think you'll have the usual suspects on there as well. Maybe even an Oumar Niasse before he leaves the club. No, I'm only messing. You might even get Andre Gomez on the bench as well. If he's not fit to start, Marco Silva might put him on the bench and, you know, have him there as backup if need be. If you're not enjoying today's team, please do leave a like. Let's see if we can get it to 10 likes before we end. We're currently on 7 now, 22 people watching, so thank you very, very much for your support. But anyway, yeah, like I said, going into tomorrow's game, I'm confident personally, despite the fact that we are a little bit short in midfield options. Obviously, we've been left short through to injuries and suspensions. I am confident to think we've got more than enough to beat Watford tomorrow. I've been given more confidence last week when I seen how badly they were beaten. However, you know, that means nothing. Anyone can beat anyone in the Premier League, and, you know, from week to week, you can have a team that gets bladdered 6-0 one week and then goes and batters a team 5-0 the next week. So, although it doesn't mean much in the you know, the scheme of things, I do think it will have an effect on Watford. I think the Reds will be a little bit down, and, you know, they definitely will be looking to bounce back, of course, and they'll be looking to feed off that atmosphere that their fans will create. But I think it's our job then to suck that in and, you know, give them a hostile atmosphere back. Of course, it is going to be fantastic with the siren, of course. I dare say you'll have the songs flowing. You've had the originals who have been at Goodison Park today. I dare say having a meeting with the club. They said they've got something really, really special planned for tomorrow. Obviously, it's the opening game at Goodison Park anyway, so the atmosphere is going to be heightened. So, for me, I think there's absolutely no excuse. I think we should go out there tomorrow. We should get the 3 points. And again, like I said at the start of the season, that gives us a decent start to the season. You're taking 6 points. You've taken 4 points out of a possible 6. 4 points out of 2 games, and it's not that bad considering in one of the games we played the last 20 minutes to half an hour with 10 men, and we were away from home against the side in Crystal Palace that are notoriously difficult to beat at Selhurst Park as well. So for me, like I said, no excuses, whether it's the team that I predicted, whether it's a little bit different. I think we should have more than enough to beat Watford, and I think, you know, we need to pick up the 3 points tomorrow, because this is a game that you will look back on and go, that was a really, really important 3 points. So I think we need to create opportunities. I think we need to create more than we did last week. I think if Iwobi is fit and Iwobi is available, whether it's off the bench or whether it's from the start, it'll be a massive, massive bonus to us, because again, he offers us something different creativity-wise. He will offer us a little bit, you know, a little bit more directness, if you like. He likes to spray the ball through the middle. He likes to spray a pass straight through to the centre forward as well, something a little bit different to Gylfi. But yeah, like I said, for me, we should be going out and we should be getting the 3 points tomorrow afternoon, and let's hope that we do do that. Let me know your thoughts on tomorrow's game in the comments section down below. It'll be really, really interesting to hear what you guys have to say, of course. Are you confident? Are you not confident? Let me know your reasons why in the comments. Like I said, give me your predicted starting 11s as well. It'd be really, really interesting to see who you guys think will play. Like I said, I've got a little something to talk about before we end the stream. It's not really Everton related, so that's why I wanted to leave it till the end of the stream. I'm actually planning, and I'm going to start up a personal channel. Just a channel that I can sit down and talk about some of the things that are on Everton. Obviously, it's not going to affect the Mighty Blues in any way, shape or form. I'll still be doing at least 3 live streams a week and an instant match reaction. Probably more, because obviously I'm obviously trying to build the channel. I'm trying to get more content out there. I'm trying to get some more series. I've got real big plans for the future, so it will not affect the Mighty Blues whatsoever, so don't worry about that. There'll still be informational streams, there'll still be previews, reviews, instant match reactions, hopefully a podcast coming soon as well, and hopefully some really interesting interviews, so it won't affect this channel whatsoever. However, I thought, you know what, I'll make a little personal channel, give me the opportunity to sit down, talk about some other hobbies of mine, film, TV, you know, other football as well, other Premier League football, and not just Everton, because I do strictly want to keep this channel to Everton, because it's an Everton fan channel. It's not just my channel, it's about, you know, it's a fan channel. Like I said, that's why I read every single comment out. That's why I try and reply to as many comments as possible, because this is a fan channel. This is as much for your opinion as it is mine, so that's why I wanted to keep it purely to Everton. However, this other channel will allow me to sit down and maybe talk about some other games, maybe talk about some other things. I have made a video so far. I'm in the process of editing it now. It's a Stranger Things Series 3 review, so that should be up within the next couple of days. Like I said, I'm in the process of editing it. Once the video is up and once it's live and once the channel's booming, I will leave a link to it in the description of future streams and videos. So if you want to go and check that over, I would check that out. I would be really appreciative. However, I understand if you're just here for the Everton talk, that's absolutely fine. Don't go anywhere. This channel isn't going to change. In fact, you're going to get more content from this channel. It's not going to slack. I'm not going to prioritise that one over this one. This is my priority. This is my baby, if you like. This is you know, this is what started me on YouTube, and you know, the support that I've had over the last few weeks and months and the last year of doing it. I've been doing the channel for nearly a year. Has been absolutely fantastic, and I'd never ever leave it. So the content will still be flowing on this channel, if not more than usual, but I just wanted to let you know that I will be doing another channel as well, just to sit down and talk about some other stuff, if you fancy going and checking that out. So let me know your thoughts on that. Of course, it'd be really interesting to hear what you guys have to say about that. And like I said, once I've edited this video, you know, rendered it, got it uploaded and stuff, I'll tweet the link out, and I'll obviously put the link in the description as well, and give you the opportunity to go over it and check it out if you want. If you don't, that's absolutely fair enough. Like I said, I won't be going anywhere on this channel. I'll still be doing reviews, I'll still be doing previews, and you will see me tomorrow afternoon for the instant match reaction to tomorrow's game, and let's hope that it is a positive one. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's stream, please do hit that like button. It would mean an absolute massive amount to me. Like I said, subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Recently hit 700 subscribers, so that's an absolute massive achievement. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow for the instant match reaction to tomorrow's game. Hopefully it's a positive one. Hopefully we can come away with the 3 points, and we can sit there and say, boss win for the Blues. And yeah, let's move on now. 4 points out of a possible 6. It's a decent return when you think about the circumstances last week. Obviously, I'll be back with the instant match reaction tomorrow. I'll then be back with the full game review on Monday night. So don't forget to join us at 6:15 PM for that as well. Can't think of an effing name, says I don't want Davis in the team. I'd rather drop Siggy back and put Iwobi Cam. That's absolutely fair enough, and I think that is a possibility for Marco Silva to explore as well. And we'll have to see, you know, how he feels about that one going into tomorrow's game. Anyway, like I said, a massive thank you for watching. Please hit the like button if you have enjoyed today's team. Like I said, don't forget to join us on Twitter at Mighty Blues YT. If you haven't already, go and follow us over there to keep up to date with all of the latest Everton information and news. Subscribe to the channel as well to also keep up to date with the latest Everton information and news, and I'll see you tomorrow for my instant match reaction. Hopefully it's a positive one. Let's go out there, let's get the 3 points, let's show what we've got, let's show that we are the best of the rest, even though I hate that saying. Yeah, and let's go out there and let's give them another thumping like they got last week against Brighton. We've got more than enough quality in the team to win this game of football, and we should have more than enough quality, whether it's the new lads are involved or whether it's a team that we've seen similar to last season. So let's go out there, let's get the 3 points. Hopefully it's a positive one, and hopefully we can sit here and enjoy the win tomorrow night. Alex says young glow. Yes, young glow. Thank you all very much for watching. Like I said, if you have enjoyed, please do hit the like button. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the instant match reaction, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.